Chiefs Kingdom, we've got big news today. The salary cap situation in Kansas City has taken a massive turn, and it's setting up the team for some serious moves. Just a few weeks ago, the Chiefs were staring at a cap deficit, but now they've got around $28 million in available space. Yeah, you heard that right. $28 million to work with heading into the next phase of the offseason. So how did this happen? Well, credit to Brett Veach and the front office for some smart restructuring. According to Over the Cap, the Chiefs currently have $27.62 million in cap space. But if you ask Spotrac, that number is slightly higher at $28.36 million. Splitting the difference, we can safely say that Kansas City has about $28 million to spend. That's a major shift from being over the cap not long ago. Now, the big question is, what should the Chiefs do with this money? Should they target a big-name free agent? Make a trade? Maybe hold on to some cap space for in-season flexibility? This is where you come in. Drop your dream signing in the comments right now. Of course, just because the Chiefs have money doesn't mean they can spend it all in one place. There are still roster spots to fill, draft picks to sign, and strategic moves to make. So let's break it all down and figure out how Kansas City can maximize this cap space. All right, so we know the Chiefs have about $28 million in cap space, but let's talk about where that money actually needs to go. Because as tempting as it sounds to throw it all at a superstar free agent, Kansas City has to be strategic. First, let's look at the current roster. Right now, the Chiefs have 69 players under contract. The offseason roster limit is 90 players, which means there are 21 spots to fill. However, Kansas City has 8 draft picks, so assuming they use all of them, that leaves 13 open roster spots before training camp. Now, here's something a lot of fans don't think about. How much do rookies cost? On average, NFL teams allocate around $10 million to sign their draft class. Since the Chiefs have more picks than the league average, but several of them are late-round selections, that estimate still holds. So, let's do some quick math. $28 million in total cap space minus $10 million for rookies leaves $18 million to work with. But hold on. Teams don't like to spend every dollar before the season starts. Most front offices leave a buffer of at least $7 million for mid-season emergencies, injuries, or even an in-season trade. That means, in reality, the Chiefs have about $10 to $11 million left for free agent signings or trades before the season begins. Now, let's get interactive. What's your grade for the Chiefs roster as it stands today? Is it an A because they're still Super Bowl contenders? A B because there are a few holes to fill? Maybe a C or lower because you think there's work to be done? Drop your grade in the comments below. So, with around $10 million left to spend, the real question is, who should the Chiefs target? Let's take a look at the free agents and trade options that could make the biggest impact. Now that we know the Chiefs have around $10 million to spend, let's talk about how they could use it. Free agency is still loaded with talent, and there are some interesting trade targets that could shake things up. Free agency, veteran signings. At this point in the offseason, a lot of veteran players are still looking for the right fit. Some guys might take a discount for a shot at a Super Bowl. And let's be real. If you're a veteran trying to win a ring, there's no better place to be than Kansas City. So what positions make sense? Wide receiver. The Chiefs need a reliable target for Mahomes, even after signing Hollywood Brown. Could a veteran WR be the missing piece? Defensive line. The Chiefs' defense was elite last season, but adding another pass rusher or run stopper could be huge. Offensive line depth. Protecting Mahomes is always a priority. A veteran swing tackle or interior lineman could be a smart investment. One name that's been floating around is X-Player. Insert rumored name if available. He's experienced, still productive, and could be a great fit for the Chiefs' system. Trade market. A blockbuster move. Of course, the Chiefs could go bigger and make a splash via trade. Brett Veach has a history of pulling off mid-season deals. Think back to some of the key moves he's made in the past. Could we see another one coming? If Kansas City wants to target a high-impact player, They'd need to get creative with the cap. That could mean restructuring deals or sending draft picks in return. Keep an eye on teams looking to clear cap space. Those are the ones that might be willing to make a deal. But here's the big question. Which free agent would you like to see in Kansas City? Drop a name in the comments and let's see who Chiefs Kingdom wants to bring in. Of course, free agency isn't the only way to improve this roster. The NFL draft is right around the corner, and Kansas City has some key decisions to make. Let's talk about how the draft will impact the Chiefs' cap situation. Free agency is exciting, but let's not forget, the draft is where the Chiefs build their future. Brett Veach has made it clear, Kansas City's long-term success comes from smart drafting, not just big spending. So, how does this year's draft impact the cap? Rookie contracts and cap space. Right now, the Chiefs have 8 draft picks. Based on league averages, signing those rookies will cost about $10 million in cap space. That's already factored into the $28 million total, meaning Kansas City has $10 million left for free agents or trades after setting aside money for the draft. But here's something important. Rookie contracts are bargains. First-round picks might make a few million per year, but late-round picks are even cheaper. That's why the Chiefs rely on homegrown talent instead of overspending in free agency. Draft strategy. What positions should Kansas City target? The Chiefs roster is strong, but there are still areas to improve. Based on needs and long-term planning, here are the likely priorities. Offensive tackle. Protecting Mahomes is always the #1 concern. A young OT could be a long-term starter. Wide receiver. Even with Hollywood Brown, adding another weapon for Mahomes makes sense. Defensive depth, linebackers, edge rushers, and cornerbacks are always valuable in Spagnuolo's system. The Chiefs' draft success story. Just look at recent drafts. Trent E. McDuffie, Creed Humphrey, Isaiah Pacheco. All of them became impact players on rookie deals. If Veach nails this draft again, Kansas City could stay dominant without spending huge money in free agency. So here's the question. Should the Chiefs trade up for a top prospect or stay put and draft best available? Let me know in the comments. With the draft coming up and money still left to spend, the Chiefs have some big decisions ahead. So what's next? Let's break it all down. All right, Chiefs Kingdom, we've broken down the numbers, the cap space, and the potential moves. Now, let's talk about what's next. What moves are likely coming? With about $10 million left to spend after accounting for the draft, Kansas City has options. Will they sign a veteran free agent looking for a ring? Could they pull off a trade for a key contributor? One possibility is adding depth on the offensive line. Protecting Mahomes is always a priority. A veteran defensive lineman could also be a smart investment, especially after seeing how critical that pass rush was last season. Then there's always the surprise factor. Brett Veach has a history of making unexpected moves. Could we see a draft day shocker where the Chiefs trade up for a big-name rookie? What this means for the Chiefs' future. The big takeaway: the Chiefs are in a great spot. They've managed their cap well, retained key players, and still have room to improve. That's the blueprint for sustained success. And it's why Kansas City isn't just aiming for another Super Bowl, but for a dynasty. Call to action now. It's your turn. What's your final prediction? Will the Chiefs sign a veteran, make a trade, or go all in on the draft? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on every move Kansas City makes, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you're hyped for the offseason, and as always, go Chiefs!